Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gita, please. Jam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Ashtotara Shatashi Srimad Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories of the assembled devotees. All glories of the assembled devotees. All glories of the assembled devotees. All glories of Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya We're reading from Canto 3, titled Status Quo, Chapter 33, Activities of Kapila, on Text 7. Oho Batashva Pachato Gadiyan Yajji Vagre Vartate Namatubhyam Te Pustapaste Juhuvususnor Te Pustapaste Juhuvusus. How's it go? Brahmanuchar Nama Grinantiyete Oho Batashva Pachato Gadiyan Yajji Vagre Vartate Namatubhyam Tu Pastapaste Juhuvu Sasnur Arya Brahmanuchur Nama Grinantiyete Oho Batashva Pachato Gadiyan Yajjivagre vartate namatubhyam. Te pustapaste juhuvu susnur arya. Manuchur nama grinanti ete. So, word by word translation. Oho bata. Oh, how glorious. Shrapachaha, a dog eater. Ataha, hence. Gadiyan, worshipable. Yet, of whom? Jiva agre, on the tip of the tongue. Vartate, is. Nama, the holy name. Tubhyam, unto you. Tepu tapaha, practice austerities. Te, they. Juhu vuhu, executed fire sacrifices. Sasnuhu, took bath in the sacred rivers. Aryaha, Aryans. Brahma Anuchuhu, studied the Vedas. Nama, the holy name. Grinanti, except. Yea, they who. Te, your. How does that verse from the Bhagavad Gita start? Srimad, about he takes birth in a aristocratic family if he doesn't complete. Gehe yoga brashta bijayate. Oh, okay. Okay, so translation. Oh, how glorious are they whose tongues are chanting your holy name. Even if born in the family of dog-eaters, such persons are worshipable. Persons who chant the holy name of your lordship must have executed all kinds of austerities and fire sacrifices and achieved all the good manners of the Aryans. To be chanting the holy name of your lordship, they must have bathed at holy places of pilgrimage, studied the Vedas, and fulfilled everything required. Purport. As it is stated in the previous verse, a person who has once offenselessly chanted the holy name of God becomes immediately eligible to perform Vedic sacrifices. One should not be astonished by this statement of srimadbhagavatam. One should not disbelieve or think, how by chanting the holy name of the Lord can one become a holy man to be compared to the most elevated Brahman? To eradicate such doubts in the minds of unbelievers, this verse affirms that the stage of chanting of the holy name of the Lord is not sudden, but that the chanters have already performed all kinds of Vedic rituals and sacrifices. It is not very astounding, for no one in this life can chant the holy name of the Lord unless he has passed all lower stages, such as performing the Vedic ritualistic sacrifices, studying the Vedas, and practicing good behavior like that of the Aryans. All this must first have been done. Just as a student in a law class is to be understood to have already graduated from general education, anyone who is engaged in chanting the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, must have already passed all lower stages. It is said that those who simply chant the holy name with the tip of the tongue are glorious. One does not even have to chant the holy name and understand the whole procedure, namely the offensive stage, offenseless stage, and pure stage. If the holy name is sounded on the tip of the tongue, that is also sufficient. It is said herein that nama, a singular number, one name, Krishna or Rama, is sufficient. It is not that one has to chant all the holy names of the Lord. The holy names of the Lord are innumerable, and one does not have to chant all the names to prove that he has already undergone all the processes of Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. If one chants once only, it is to be understood that he has already passed all the examinations, not to speak of those who are chanting always, 24 hours a day. It is specifically said here, Tubhyam, unto you only. One must chant God's names, not, as the Mayavadi philosophers say, any name, such as a demigod's name or the names of God's energies. Only the holy name of the Supreme Lord will be effective. Anyone who compares the holy name of the Supreme Lord to the names of the demigods is called Pashandi, or an offender. The holy name has to be chanted to please the Supreme Lord, and not for any sense gratification or professional purpose. If this pure mentality is there, then even though a person is born of a low family, such as a dog-eater's, he is so glorious that not only has he purified himself, but he is quite competent to deliver others. He is competent to speak on the importance of the transcendental name, just as Thakur Haridas did. He was apparently born in a family of Mohammedans, but because he was chanting the holy name of the Supreme Lord offenselessly, Lord Chaitanya empowered him to become the authority, or acharya, of spreading the name. It did not matter that he was born in a family which was not following the Vedic rules and regulations. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Advaita Prabhu accepted him as an authority because he was offensively chanting the name of the Lord. Authorities like Advaita Prabhu and Lord Chaitanya immediately accepted that he had already performed all kinds of austerities, studied the Vedas, and performed all sacrifices. That is automatically understood. There is a hereditary class of Brahmins called the Smarta Brahmins, however, who are of the opinion that even if such persons who are chanting the holy name of the Lord are accepted as purified, they still have to perform the Vedic rites or await their next birth in a family of Brahmins so that they can perform the Vedic rituals. But actually that is not the case. Such a man does not need to wait for the next birth to become purified. He is at once purified. It is understood that he has already performed all sorts of rites. It is the so-called Brahmins who actually have to undergo different kinds of austerities before reaching that point of purification. There are many other Vedic performances which are not described here. All such rituals have been already performed by the chanters of the holy name. The word juhu vuhu means that the chanters of the holy name have already performed all kinds of sacrifices. Sasnuhu means that they have already traveled to all the holy places of pilgrimage and taken part in purificatory activities at those places. They are called Aryaha because they have already finished all these requirements, and therefore they must be among the Aryans, or those who have qualified themselves to become Aryans. Aryan refers to those who are civilized, whose manners are regulated according to the Vedic rituals. Any devotee who is chanting the holy name of the Lord is the best kind of Aryan. Unless one studies the Vedas, one cannot become an Aryan. But it is automatically understood that the chanters have already studied all the Vedic literature. The specific word used here is anuchahu, which means that because they have already completed all of those recommended acts, they have become qualified to be spiritual masters. The very word grinanti, which is used in this verse, means to be already established in the perfectional stage of ritualistic performances. If one is seated on the bench of a high court and is giving judgment on cases, it means that he has already passed all legal exams and is better than those who are engaged in the study of law or those expecting to study law in the future. In a similar way, persons who are chanting the holy name are transcendental to those who are factually performing the Vedic rituals and those who expect to be qualified, or in other words, those who are born in families of Brahmins but have not yet undergone the reformatory processes and who therefore expect to study the Vedic rituals and perform the sacrifices in the future. There are many Vedic statements in different places saying that anyone who chants the holy name of the Lord becomes immediately freed from conditional life, and that anyone who hears the holy name of the Lord, even though born of a family of dog-eaters, also becomes liberated from the clutches of material entanglement. Ends the purport. Shuchinam. Yeah, Shuchinam, yeah. 641. Okay. Doesn't say that. Oh, okay, yeah. Prapya punya kutam lokan, yeah. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karivachalam Pangam Nanga Tekrim Yakripatam Vande Shri Gurum Dintana Vancha Kapadribhashta Kripasindabevacha Patitanam Bhavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I'll read the translation again. Oh, how glorious are they whose tongues are chanting your holy name. Even if born in the family of dog-eaters, such persons are worshipable. Persons who chant the holy name of your lordship must have executed all kinds of austerities and fire sacrifices, and achieved all the good manners of the Aryans. To be chanting the holy name of your lordship, they must have bathed at holy places of pilgrimage, studied the Vedas, and fulfilled everything required. So there's many different statements within the scriptures, the SrimadBhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and other similar books that... And within those books, these different statements that are stated, such as this and many other statements, they have to be, you could say, all studied and taken into account. And also Srila Prabhupada's statements. He says he makes statements. He makes statements on particular subjects. But there's not just those few statements, there's many statements he makes on a particular subject. It's not just one time in San Francisco in 1967, Srila Prabhupada said something about a particular thing, but he also said that 10,000 other times, different places, different circumstances. So the statements of our acharyas, Srila Prabhupada and our acharyas, and also the books, they also have to be seen in what context they're said, who they're said to, why they're said, and studied from that particular viewpoint. So, for example, it says that, okay, Brahmins, actually any devotee or any cultured or civilized person, right, not supposed to lie, right? But there are some circumstances in which lying may be necessary and actually good. And if a Brahmin doesn't, or if anybody doesn't know how to discriminate or how to figure out, okay, when is it good to lie and when is it good not to lie, then yeah, that means they're lacking in discrimination. And the examples given of the Brahmin who he was, what happened is there was some dacoits, some gangster dacoits, whatever you want to say, rough people, murderers, and they were chasing innocent person. And what happened is this person ran into a Brahmin's house and said, "Oh, these people are chasing me. Can I hide, right, in your room here?" And then the Brahmin said, "Yeah, hide." And then these murderers came in and said, "Oh, where is the person?" And the Brahmin said, "Oh, the Brahmin didn't want to lie. He's a Brahmin. He has to be truthful." So he said, "Oh, they're in the room there." And then he went there. They went there and they killed the person. And it says that, okay, that Brahmin had to suffer in hell sometime for that, for being truthful. He had to suffer in hell. So there's different lying and cheating, all these different things. Of course, we have to be careful. Oh, I'm doing it for Krishna. Like I heard there was some devotee who robbed a bank here at Pacific Beach. I forgot his name. He's a bhakta. Ramapati was telling me, Kevin was telling me the other day there's some bhakta. I forgot his name. Anyways, so he actually robbed the bank, and he was successful. He actually got away. He came back to the temple. He was good. But one of the tellers, the bank tellers, they saw him hanging out around Pacific Beach, and he got busted that way. And he didn't go to jail for too long because he didn't actually have a gun. But he just put him a note like, "Hey, I got a gun, and give me your money." And but he didn't go to jail for that long because he actually didn't have a gun. I heard he got about $10,000, which back then was probably double or something. But so yeah, we can't just say, "Oh, hey, I'm doing it for Krishna." That's the point. Oh, I'm lying, I'm cheating for Krishna. We have to do it. But there are some circumstances which it may be necessary, actually. So that takes the discrimination. So, of course, like we hear statements like this is, "Oh, well, one who is engaged in chanting the holy name means they've done all these things," right? This is what it's saying in the verse. And of course, that's there, the statement. And then we have a statement from Srila Prabhupada, right? Devotees say, "Oh, Prabhupada, I was such a sinful person, and I grew up in a, horrible family, Kali Yuga family, this and that, so many sinful activities, but what about this verse? It says that those who are engaged in chanting, they must have done so many good things in the past." And then Prabhupada said, "Oh, well, I created your good fortune." In other words, you're a rascal, and I had mercy on you. That's what he's saying. But then again, we have in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the Nectar of Devotion, Rupa Goswami says that those who are engaged in Krishna consciousness must have had some association with it, and they must engage in devotional service at least to some degree in their past life, and therefore they're taken to it now. And also the verse in the Bhagavad Gita, it says 6:41, which a lot of the times the second verse is quoted, so devotees might think that it actually starts with the second verse. Shuchinam Srimate Srimatam Gehe Yoga Brashta Bijayate. Prabhupada quotes that second part a lot. And the first part is Prapya Punya Kritam Lokon Ishidva Shashvitam Samaha Suchinam Srimatam Gehe Yoga Brashta Bijayate. The unsuccessful yogi, after many, many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people, or into a family of rich aristocracy. Or, if unsuccessful after long practice of yoga, he takes his birth in a family of transcendentalists who are surely great in wisdom. Certainly such a birth is rare in this world. So, it says that for the transcendentalists, the devotees, they are engaging in Krishna consciousness, but they're not successful. Then they take birth in in a family of great wisdom, devotee family, so on. And such a birth is rare. Like we were at devotee's house last night, Bhagavatsaptaha and Leela Shaktis, and there was a kirtan there, and there are these devotee parents, Kamala and Vasant. Maybe they're listening now. Sometimes they listen to the talk. But their little boy, his name's Madhav, and he's actually he could hold a tune pretty well. I mean, he's actually pretty good. He's I think 5 something. You gave him a chance or not? Yeah, we gave him a chance, but he's just kind of very soft voice. He's so young. So he's example. Take birth in a nice family. Engage in Krishna consciousness. So whether or not we have done so many things in our past life to come to where we are now, or whether this is our first time around, or whatever the case may be, the main point here is that the holy name is, those who are engaged in chanting the holy name, it's the end of all knowledge, of the Bhakti Vedanta, right? Bhakti is the devotion, and Vedanta, the end of knowledge. So it's, you could say, the king of all process. It's like the top of the hill, you could say. And the main process, specifically also for this age, as it's Srila Prabhupada's mentioned in the purport. And many people, or yeah, still many people, especially within India, Prabhupada's mentioned in the Smarta Brahmins and people of in that, with that type of mentality, they say that you cannot be a Brahmin unless you have taken birth in a Brahmin family. So Dharmaseta Prabhu doing his fire yagas, Dayanidhi Prabhu doing his fire yagas, or what is going on the altar and touching the deity, right? All these things, actually, they say, those born outside of India, or even those born in India, not in a Brahmin family, they are not qualified to do. And therefore it is offensive and against Scripture, they'll say. Because, anyways, which is a misconception, because this verse and so many verses in the Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita prove that that's not the case. But nevertheless, it is extremely revolutionary what Srila Prabhupada did. Like, there was a man last night, he's from Dallas, and he said he came to America when it was in 1977, and now he's about 80 years old. So he was telling me that, he was telling me how he was amazed, because he came to America, this was many years ago, and he wanted to come to the temple, the Dallas temple, so he went there. And then he walked in, he was coming to see the deity, and, to his Indian temple, that's what he was thinking, but it was the ISKCON Dallas temple. So then he walks in, and he was going to see the deity, and all of a sudden, a white devotee comes up to him, shaved head and tilak and dhoti and everything, and he goes, Hare Krishna. And then this Indian man said he was completely freaked out. He's like, what is this? Like, who is this? Like a white guy and, shaved head and tilak and dhoti. Because, he came from India. He didn't see any of that. So yeah, he was amazed. And then, anyways, he went on describing that. But also he was telling me that he was making the point, which many people have made, that many people from India have come to America within the last, 100 years or so on. Right? You have Yogananda and so many other people like that. But they came, and Prabhupada did a very amazing thing, obviously, and he got people to change their culture. He didn't, you could say, adopt their culture, like right, Dr. Mishra said, whatever, you should put on pants, or whatever he said. And Prabhupada said, no, I'm staying like this, how he was. So, but Prabhupada got them to change their culture, and this person last night, from this devotee from Dallas, he was saying that he was just amazed that Prabhupada got people to put on dhotis, and women to put on saris. It was just like amazing, tilak, and just absolutely amazing. And still, if you analyze it, I mean, ISKCON's like leading within the world to make such cultural changes like that. So, these people in India, they say, oh, you can't be Brahmin, it's impossible. You got to wait till next birth. Now, of course, we know that's wrong. On another angle of vision, though, you could see, where, on some sense, where they're coming from. Because, growing up in America throughout the world, and not growing up in, Brahminical culture, we see that, when devotees come join the temple and everything, it's actually hard in many ways for them to learn the Brahminical culture and live by it. You can learn it, but actually to live by it also. And of course, it's possible. It's not that it's impossible. It's quite possible. But you could see that these smartas, they have a sense that, oh, you have to be trained, because if you're trained from very beginning how to be a Brahmin, what to speak, how to be a devotee, then it's actually a lot easier because it's just your nature. Don't eat with your left hand. Don't Don't eat the potato chips and wipe them on your pants. Whatever, it's like how do you use the you have to bathe after you use the toilet, all these things, like, which you could say is growing up in the Brahminical culture. It's like that's the first thing you learn. So in some sense you could see where they're coming from, but of course the power of the holy name, the power of the process of bhakti, it purifies, and purifies most powerfully, right? Srivada Prabhu purifies most powerfully. Yeah. The holy name of Sri Hari is surely all that be, right? Yeah. So, so whatever the case, whether we're born, which most of us aren't, actually, within this room, no one is. I mean, you got Ramapati in the kitchen, he's cooking breakfast, but he's born in devotee family. But whether we're born or not in a Brahmin family, devotee family, the process is so powerful, it'll purify us, and we become qualified, as Prabhupada says here. It says they're qualified to be spiritual masters. They're qualified to be spiritual masters. So, so yeah, this is the power of the holy name, that it takes those who are fallen outside of any, you could say, sane, sane cultural lifestyle, those people who are outside of that, and it brings them in to the realm of sanity, into the realm of Krishna consciousness, trains them, and then it qualifies them to they could actually act as spiritual masters. So it's quite amazing, actually. The power of Krishna consciousness. And I'll just say a few more things. And it's not that, a lot of people, they say, oh, I'm trying to find a qualified spiritual master, right? And sometimes the spiritual masters out there are saying, oh man, I'm just trying to find a qualified disciple. So it's not that, it's just, oh, I'm having a hard time find somebody who suits me or qualified. But spiritual masters also, you have to think what they're thinking of. If I'm having a hard time finding a qualified disciple. So we're meant to, Zach and myself were talking yesterday, and we came up with this thing. We're meant to serve the spiritual master, right? Not disturb the spiritual master. So spiritual master has his business, right, which is serving Krishna and helping others and all that. But we're not supposed to be we're not supposed to be a source of dread for the spiritual master. It's like, oh my God, he's contacting me again, another problem. Like, how many problems this person, how many complaints is this person going to have, right? How long is this person not going to cooperate with others and institution, this and that? It's like a source of dread. But we're actually supposed to be like a source of spiritual pride for our spiritual master. spiritual masters. That they see us and they, oh, I'm very happy to have such a nice disciple. And that's actually the success of a disciple, that they, in the eyes of the spiritual master, they're very, very pleased with that disciple. That's a success. So we should try to strive for that, serving the spiritual master rather than disturbing the spiritual master. And yeah, we're supposed to, by taking to the holy name, even if we're born in the family of dog eaters, or people, which is very common nowadays, even within India and practically all over the world. I mean, they eat all types of things, all types of animal. So say cow eaters, dog eaters, this eater, whatever. If we're born in those families, anyone's born in those families, then again, the power of the holy name, the power of Krishna consciousness purifies. And they could become qualified to be devotees, be Brahmins, be spiritual masters. And this is actually the glory of the movement of Srila Prabhupada, the movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that's bringing people like that up. So we could try to ourselves, elevate ourselves, right? That's what we're trying to do. And then also in the process we try to elevate others, right? We're trying to do both. It's not just one or the other. So we have to keep that in consideration also. So does anyone have any question? Yes.
We were talking about the smartas in India, caste Brahmins as well. It was Guru Kripa and Sodananda preaching in South India. And they came and said to Srila Prabhu, we meet so many of these Brahmins and they say, very nice, you're engaged in the SanDiego mission, and in your next life you'll be able to be born as Brahmins in South India and worship the deity. And Prabhupada said, how did you respond? What was your reply? Anyone know other than Dravida and Raj Prabhu? Okay, Balarama, give me what you can say. What was their answer? What was the answer Prabhupada wanted them to give?
Prabhupada said, well, if you keep on engaging in deity worship like this, serving the deity very nicely, then in your next life you'll be born in America and you'll take birth in the Sankirtan movement. Engage in the Sankirtan movement. So that was
just one other thing you were saying about how, the uniqueness of Prabhupada is that he changed us. Prabhupada was there with Sridhar Swami, Sridhar Maharaj, when Ban Maharaj and the others were sent to England, and then they came back. They came back by boat, and you can hear Prabhupada saying on tape. And so they were there to greet them. Prabhupada, and I don't know if anyone knows this, Prabhupada and Sridhar Maharaj, maybe others, but the two of them were there. And they saw them coming down the gangplank, Ban Maharaj and the others, and they were all in British dress. I don't know if they had bowler hats on, but they were in British dress, And Prabhupada says on the tape that he turned to Sridhar Maharaj and said, we were sent to change them, but they have changed us. Prabhupada hit the nail right on the head. And then, just one last thing to finish. Prabhupada says that Ban Maharaj said, they asked many questions we could not answer. And Prabhupada turned to Sridhar Maharaj, just so they're sitting in the back, I guess they were in the front, but he turned to Sridhar Maharaj and said, what question isn't answered in the Bhagavatam? So because they didn't have that conviction, then they were easily turned. Just to confirm your point.
Yeah, I was listening recently to a lecture from my spiritual master, and he was speaking at Prabhupada's house in Vrindavan. This was a few years ago. And he said how he listened to a class by Hari Vilas Prabhu some time ago in Mayapur, and Hari Vilas Prabhu gave a class on Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And Hari Vilas Prabhu was saying how, anyways, he gave some Prabhupada pastimes, and he was also saying how Hari Vilas was there when Prabhupada was there in Vrindavan, and it was some ceremony going on. It might have been the opening of the temple or something. And Gargamuni Prabhu was there. He was glorifying Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was there, and he was very boldly glorifying Prabhupada. And some of Prabhupada's godbrothers were there, and I think some devotees, some of the godbrothers who went to London and came back. And Gargamuni was saying, yes, Prabhupada went to the West, and he spread Krishna consciousness, like very kind of boldly speaking, and in such a way that you could say that maybe you could get a sense that he was saying, oh, Prabhupada's so great, and he did what some of his godbrothers who went to London couldn't do. But those godbrothers were there. And then Hari Vilas was thinking, oh, I don't know if this is going to be so good, I don't know if this is going to work, And then he said that Hari Vilas said that he looked at Prabhupada and he wanted to see Prabhupada's respond. And he said that Prabhupada's response was just beaming, very happy. Oh, my disciple was, glorifying what I've done, for Krishna. And then later, one of Prabhupada's godbrothers, he was asked to speak. I don't know if it was Ban Maharaj or someone who went to London. He was asked to speak, and then he said, yeah, no one could deny that Swami Maharaj did an amazing thing, spreading Krishna consciousness and whatever went on like that. But yeah, it is quite a feat, that what Prabhupada did. I mean, no one could deny that. I mean, some people, anyways, but no one could deny that ultimately. But one thing Hari Vilas Prabhu said I thought was interesting. He said that he said that Prabhupada was coming. I think he was in Europe somewhere, and Prabhupada was scheduled to fly in the next morning. But Hari Vilas said we had no money, like absolutely no money, like zero, and he was in complete anxiety. He said they didn't even have a car to go pick him up or rent a taxi, nothing. So no boga, no taxi for Prabhupada, no flowers. It's just like a disaster. So, and then he went to sleep that night, and still the problem was still there. He said he went to sleep, and he said it was anxiety the whole night. He couldn't sleep the whole night. And then he woke up early in the morning, went to the temple room to chant his rounds. So he's chanting his rounds, and no one was there. It was before Mangalarti. He's chanting Hare Krishna. And all of a sudden he sees this brown paper bag, So then he goes and he looks at the brown paper bag and he looks inside, and he says that it was more money than he's ever seen in his whole life, So he looks and he's, oh, okay. So then he wraps up the bag and he puts it under his wool chadar, and then he's just chanting japa. And he said that he was sweating, because he was hoping that someone wouldn't come back in and say, hey, where's my bag of money, So he's like chanting the whole morning. And then devotees come, Mangalarti passes, Guru Puja passes, class passes, and nobody's coming to claim the money. And then, so then he's waiting till 10, and he waits till about 11. He said, okay, great, nobody came to claim the money. So then he asked devotees, okay, go buy boga, go buy flowers, and rent a taxi, like that. So. And he was just saying that, somehow or other that worked out. Yeah, exactly, increased his faith. I mean, there's many stories like that. But
I just wanted to call attention to this part of the fight the holy name has to be chanted to please the Supreme Lord and not for any sense gratification or professional purpose.
yeah.
And we find that there's a real danger in that, especially in exposing yourself to that.
Yeah.
Whether it's some festival, bhakti festival that's not run by ISKCON, just whatever, or so many recordings, professionals do that. Well, that's not really good for the temple, but you're serious about this. If it's not a devotee chanting, you can hear it. So I just wanted to probably make that point here. And it's quite
Yeah, that's true, that professional, or, like sometimes Sankirtan devotees, book distributors, it's because you're distributing books, but there's also that, the money, right? Yeah. So it could be a little kind of, sometimes, oh, well, you get some money. So in other words, it comes a little mixed, I want some money, and maybe they'll use the money for themselves, so it's a little, so similarly with the kirtan and so many different things, we have to be very careful. I was thinking earlier, there's that I forgot, one of our acharyas, they give an example that which is a very interesting example, but anyways, they give the example that we should be like the woman who's married, but she has a parma, and she's very nicely engaging in her whatever cooking or cleaning, but trying to better than usual, trying to make her husband happy, but she's always thinking, oh, okay, when am I going to meet my whatever parma or whatever. So he's saying that we should be like that, always thinking of Krishna. We're carrying on with our duties. We're always thinking of Krishna, right? But I was thinking it's like the opposite of that is like we're engaging in Krishna consciousness, but like in the background, think about Maya. It's kind of like in the background. So you got to be careful that we're got the right type of consciousness. But yeah, I'll just say one more thing is that like musicians, philosophers, in Krishna consciousness, and I thought I was thinking of one other example, but like musicians in Krishna consciousness, they're musicians. I mean, it's like music is nectar to their ears. It's like that's what their heart is thriving for the sound of music. Kartals, mridanga, and harmonium. It's just like what to speak. You put a violin, and it's just like they're dying for that. And sometimes it's a little bit too much. They're dying for the music. So it's like holy name is primary, instruments are secondary. So sometimes I've been in kirtans. I'm not just talking about here. I'm talking about so many kirtans all over. But devotees, they're really absorbed in the kartals or the mridanga and their harmonium, and then you look around and it's like they're not chanting. It's like, hey, Hari Bol. You guys say, hey, Hari Bol, Sometimes you hear devotees in the kirtans, Hari Bol, because devotees aren't chanting. So they have to be careful that the music doesn't become primary and the holy name secondary, because actually the holy name is primary and the music is secondary. And similarly with philosophy, there's many philosopher devotees. It's like they're engaged in the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, but it's like they may be forgetting Krishna. Or Krishna may be like secondary and the philosophy is primary. So anyways, there's so many examples where we could have Krishna as secondary, another thing primary, so we have to be careful like that too. So, all right. Thank you. Yeah. I was going to say, when you said border, I was thinking about like the Mexican border, and I was thinking about like the border patrol, they're kind of there. And I was thinking like the fences are like the border patrol, trying to get across, but they're, okay. Anyway, so you got to get past them, Yeah.
So just quickly, because Raj mentioned, Virginia and others mentioned about the installation, and it really is the holy name of Krishna Bala, and the chanting of the installation. So Prabhupada said, if
Yeah.
In regards to the Brahmins, it's worth noting that Brahmins are very dear to Krishna.
Yeah.
He honors himself to them, and they follow the falling lives that the kingdom of Indra are away from by the blessings of Brahmins. Sorry, the demoniac priest of the priest of the demons. So that's to be understood.
Yeah.
But one really wonderful one-liner from Srila Prabhupada, understanding why he was successful. He said, I always thought everything for Krishna and that's in the purport of belief. It's not to be seen for any other expectation except for the presence of Krishna. That's everything into Brahman in Yoga.
Yeah, I just heard this from my guru. He said that Prabhupada, quoting Prabhupada from his life, Prabhupada said, Krishna tested me in two ways. He said, first, he took everything away, and then second, he gave me everything. So I thought that was interesting.
Both sides of the coin.
Yeah, it was a test. But, all right. So, all right. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
Bhagavatam 2, 9, 33 through 36, with translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srimadbhagavatam 2, 9, 33. Ahamevasame nanyad yat sadasatparam pascharaham miretacha yo vishishcheta sosmyaham. Brahma, it is I, the personality of Godhead, who was existing before the creation, when there was nothing but myself, nor was there the material nature, the cause of this creation. That which you see now was also I, the personality of Godhead, and after annihilation, what remains will also be I, the personality of Godhead. Purport. We should note very carefully that the personality of Godhead is addressing Lord Brahma and specifying with great emphasis himself, pointing out that it is he, the personality of Godhead, who existed before the creation, it is he only who maintains the creation, and that it is he only who remains after the annihilation of the creation. Brahma is also a creation of the Supreme Lord. The impersonalist puts forth the theory of oneness in the sense that Brahma, also being the same principle of I because he is an emanation from the I, the absolute truth, is identical with the Lord, the principle of I, and that there is thus nothing more than the principle of I, as explained in this verse. Accepting the argument of the impersonalist, it is to be admitted that the Lord is the creator I, and that the Brahma is the created I. Therefore, there is a difference between the two I's, namely the predominator I and the predominated I. Therefore, there are still two I's, even accepting the argument of the impersonalist. But we must note carefully that these two I's are accepted in the Vedic literature, Kathopanishad, in the sense of quality. The Kathopanishad says, Nityo nityanam chetanas chetananam eko bahunam yo vedadhati kaman. The creator I and the created I are both accepted in the Vedas as qualitatively one, because both of them are nityas and chetanas. But the singular I is the creator I, and the created I's are of plural number, because there are many I's like Brahma and those generated by Brahma. It is the simple truth. The Father creates or begets a son, and the Son also creates many other sons, and all of them may be one as human beings, but at the same time, from the Father, the Son, and the grandsons are all different. The Son cannot take the place of the Father, nor can the grandsons. Simultaneously, the Father, the Son, and the grandson are one and different also. As human beings, they are one, but as relativities, they are different. Therefore, the relativities of the Creator and the created, or the predominator and the predominated, have been differentiated in the Vedas by saying that the predominator I is the feeder of the predominated I's, and thus there is a vast difference between the two principles of I. In another feature of this verse, no one can deny the personalities of both the Lord and Brahma. Therefore, in the ultimate issue, both the predominator and predominated are persons. This conclusion refutes the conclusion of the impersonalist that in the ultimate issue, everything is impersonal. This impersonal feature, stressed by the less intelligent impersonalist school, is refuted by pointing out that the predominator I is the absolute truth, and that he is a person. The predominated I, Brahma, is also a person, but he is not the absolute. For realization of oneself in spiritual psychology, it may be convenient to assume oneself to be the same principle as the absolute truth, but there is always the difference of the predominated and the predominator, as clearly pointed out here in this verse, which is grossly misused by the impersonalists. Brahma is factually seeing face to face his predominator Lord, who exists in his transcendental eternal form, even after the annihilation of the material creation. The form of the Lord, as seen by Brahma, existed before the creation of Brahma, and the material manifestation with all the ingredients and agents of material creation are also energetic expansions of the Lord. And after the exhibition of the Lord's energy comes to a close,
what remains is the same personality of Godhead. Therefore, the form of the Lord exists in all circumstances of creation, maintenance, and annihilation. The Vedic hymns confirm this fact in the statement, Vasudevo Vahidam Agra Asin, Na Brahma Na Shankara Eko Narayana Asin, Na Brahma Neshana, etc. Before the creation, there was none except Vasudeva. There was neither Brahma nor Shankara. Only Narayan was there and no one else, neither Brahma nor Ishana. Sripad Shankaracharya also confirms in his comments on the Bhagavad Gita that Narayan, or the personality of Godhead, is transcendental to all creation, but that the whole creation is the product of Avyakta. Therefore, the difference between the created and the creator is always there, although both the creator and created are of the same quality. The other feature of the statement is that the supreme truth is Bhagavan, or the personality of Godhead. The personality of Godhead and his kingdom have already been explained. The kingdom of Godhead is not void as conceived by the impersonalists. The Vaikuntha planets are full of transcendental variegatedness, including the four-handed residents of those planets, with great opulence of wealth and prosperity. And there are even airplanes and other amenities required for high-grade personalities. Therefore, the personality of Godhead exists before the creation, and he exists with all transcendental variegatedness in the Vaikuntha Lokas. The Vaikuntha Lokas, also accepted in the Bhagavad Gita as being of the Sanatan nature, are not annihilated, even after the annihilation of the manifested cosmos. Those transcendental planets are of a different nature altogether, and that nature is not subjected to the rules and regulations of material creation, maintenance, or annihilation. The existence of the personality of Godhead implies the existence of the Vaikuntha Lokas, as the existence of a king implies the existence of a kingdom. In various places in srimadbhagavatam and in other revealed scriptures, the existence of the personality of Godhead is mentioned. For example, at srimadbhagavatam 2.8.10, Maharaj Parikshit asks, Sachapi yatro purusho vishvastit yudbhavapyayaha muktvatma mayam mayesha sete sabhagohashaya. How does the personality of Godhead, the cause of creation, maintenance, and annihilation, who is always freed from the influence of the illusory energy and is the controller of the same, lie in everyone's heart? Similar also is a question of Viduras, Tatvanam bhagavans tesham katida pratisankramaha tatremam kahupasiran kahusvidnanusherate. Srimad Bhagavatam 3.7.30.